Today I would like to talk a little bit about my writing process, specifically how I come up with the idea for my short stories or my books. For those who are new here, my name is Ryan David Ginsberg. I'm the author of It Was Just Another Day in America, The Crumbling of a Nation and Other Stories, and my debut novel, In the Algorithm We Trust. Before you even come up with an idea for a story, you first need to decide what is the type of story that you want to tell. Do you want to write a story that is just for entertainment, or do you want to write a story that is going to highlight a specific culture? Do you want your stories to be about social issues or politics, or are you just trying to write the best romance novel that you can? It's important to understand this because this is going to narrow down the setting of your story. And when it came to writing this, my goal was very clear. I wanted to write a story that was going to speak to today's political climate, the forces that are contributing to this climate, and its overall effects on modern society. And so that led me to my second question. What specifically in those categories do I want to discuss? If you're writing a romance story, what type of romance do you want to write about? Is it a romance between teenagers, young adults, or is it about a much older couple who had almost given up on love until they finally found the one that was meant for them? Or if you're trying to tell a story about a specific culture, do you want to talk about the culture as it exists today, or do you want to highlight how that culture came to be? And if you're speaking on the history of that culture, what specific time period do you want to focus on? Do you want to make it true to how it was back then, or take a more R.F. Kuang approach where you take history and mix it with fantastical elements? For me, I decided on 3 separate elements. I wanted to talk about the political extremism that existed not only in America, but around the world. Secondly, I wanted to talk about how technologies actually perpetuate this extremism, specifically on algorithms that we find on social medias like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And thirdly, I wanted to focus on the people who stood in the middle, the people who refused to pick a side, and in their own inaction become complicit in the worst of both of them. So now that I had those 3 things in mind, I needed to figure out how am I going to represent each of these elements. Going back to those romance novels, who are going to be the characters? What lives are they going to live? And how does the romance contribute to those lives? Or going back to the cultural elements, how does the character feel about this culture? Do they try to push it away or do they embrace it? How does this decision affect the decisions that they make throughout the story? And then back to my theory. How was I going to represent that extremism? That's how I landed on my character, Lamar T. Haddington, who has managed to lead a coup against the government and take over America. And by the time the story begins, he has already served as the president for decades, a position he is not even contemplating giving up anytime soon. And then secondly, the technology. That is when I came up with the algorithm, which was designed by Lamar T. Haddington and manipulated by him to pull off this coup. There is also a device known as the data gathering device, which is implanted in every American person at the moment of their birth and grants the algorithm access to their every moment, even down to their inner thoughts. The algorithm is then able to manipulate and control every aspect of a person's life. But like most of the technologies that control us today, specifically our social medias, they began by presenting us with something that we could not turn down. For the social medias today, it is that connectivity. And for the data gathering device, it is the algorithm's ability to curate for every person their perfect life. It is able to customize the things they see on TV, the food that they eat, the education that they receive. It is able to give them their perfect friends, their perfect match, and their perfect kids. And then thirdly, the character, the person who stands in the middle and does nothing. And for this story, that character is Hugo Rodriguez. He is born into this America where Lamar T. Haddington is already the president, and the algorithm has taken over all of America. At the moment of his birth, a data gathering device is implanted in his left ear, and every moment of his life is dedicated to gathering data for the algorithm. And throughout the story, we watch as he is indoctrinated into doing nothing, even as he sees the horrible atrocities that are committed by the algorithm, whether it be the political prisoners that he watches in the national zoos, or the propaganda that he gladly participates in that depicts every non-American person as a disgusting and dangerous monster. And throughout the story, we see moment after moment where Hugo has an opportunity to stand up for somebody he cares about and decides instead to say nothing, to do nothing, and to watch as the algorithm, I won't give any spoilers away. And it is only after I've answered each of these questions that I even begin to write my story. And if you would like to see another video like this, where I talk about my writing process from the first word to the last word, please let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in reading In the Algorithm We Trust, all the links that you need are in the description below. And make sure to hit subscribe for future videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.